Unit 5, Lesson 1. The title is Relating Census and Sample. In this chapter, you will notice that 90% of the knowledge it's going to be some definitions, and we need to understand how it's important to read the question to understand how we can answer. So the first definitions that we have is census. What the meaning of census? In a census survey, data are collected from all the people in a population. Example, when every student in our school is asked to name her or his favorite movie, this survey is a census survey. So let's repeat again. Census is data collected from all. Very important that we focus with the word all. All means we don't leave any student, all the people in a population. The word population here is very important too. It's not population of the whole world. No, the population of the same place that you are asking for this data. So if you are getting the data in our school, that means the population of the school. If you are getting a data in IBM company, that means all the employees of IBM company. This is the meaning of population. But again, the census survey is data collected from all. We don't neglect anyone. So the word every here, it's the key word to tell me that this is a good example of a census survey. When every student in our school is asked to name her or his favorite movie, the survey is census. Right away, I can say it's census. Why? Because every student. Now, if it's not from all, we call that sample. In a sample survey, data are collected from a portion or a sample of population. So again, the population is not the population of the whole world, it's a population of the place that you are running this survey. And portion here, it's clear. It's not all the people. So when only 1 out 5 student in each grade in our school is asked to name her or his favorite movie, this survey is a sample survey. So as you can see, the 1 out 5, that means not every student. That's why we call it sample survey. A sample survey is less costly and require less time than a census survey, for sure. If I hire some people to ask all students of a school, it's gonna take more time than if I'm gonna choose a portion. And if I'm asking, let's say, of a city and I'm doing a survey, portion, it's less costly. But all people living in this city, it's going to be too much money to spend and time to spend to get the result of the data of this survey. So this is the difference between census and sample survey. Now let's see another sample of definitions, the continuation. This is about the word biased or valid or reliable. A sample is biased if it does not accurately represent the population. That means I have a population, but the data that I am collecting is not representing accurately the population. So what is the opposite of biased? Is valid. A survey is valid if the result represents the population. And there is something we call it reliable if the survey result can be duplicated. The word duplicated here means you can copy it in another survey. So let's see an example how we can explain all of that. When only girls are surveyed to determine the school's favorite movie, the sample is biased and the survey is not valid. Imagine if we want to see the school favorite movie and I go and ask only girls and I neglect the boys. That means it's biased. Why? Because it didn't represent the whole population of the school. The school is for boys and girls. That's why we call it biased or not valid. This survey will be more reliable when data are collected from an approximately equal numbers of boys and girls. So this is how we can transfer a biased survey to valid or reliable survey. So I hope that we understood now the difference between biased and valid and the difference between census and sample. Let's see another kind of definitions. Quantitative data. I need that I take your attention to this word, quantitative. This part of the word is coming from the word quantity. So quantitative data means what? Are data that can be measured using numbers. As soon as you use numbers, that means it's gonna be quantity. If I'm saying 5 kilogram, this is quantity. 5 centimeter, this is length. So quantitative data, if they measure, or any data that you are getting, it's measured by and using numbers. Now there is two types. The first one, discrete data, such as the number of students. Why? Because we are using whole numbers. As soon as you see the number is whole numbers, not a decimal, right away we say this is discrete data. Can the number of students be 5.5? 5 students and half? Impossible. So the number of students, this data, it's discrete. Or it's 5 or it's 6. So we don't accept decimals. That's why we call it discrete data. What about decimals? We call it continuous data, such as the length of a room. The length of the room could be 14.2. Or let's say the mass of any object, it could be 5.2 kilogram. So this is continuous data and can be described as decimals or fraction. So any numbers that you can see in the data that accept decimal or fraction, we call it continuous data. Any data that it does not accept decimals or fraction and accept only whole numbers, like the number of students, the number of people, in this case we call it discrete data. And all of that, it's under the category of quantitative data. What about if I don't get any numbers in my data? How we call that? We call it qualitative. And again, if you take the first part of this word, it's coming from quality. Qualitative data are data that cannot be measured using numbers. So, as an example, data collected for the school favorite movie are qualitative data. If I ask someone, what is your favorite movie? He's gonna give me a name, not a number. If I'm asking the student about the school's favorite sport, they give me a name, not a number. In this case, we call it qualitative data. So, I hope you understood now the difference between, first of all, census and sample data or survey. We understood the difference between biased or valid survey, and the difference between quantitative or qualitative data. Now, the last definition we can say, you got it already in grade 7, it's primary data or secondary data. Very simple. The primary data are data that can be collected by yourself. You are the one who collected this data. No one helped you, no one gave you the information. So example, Jared asked every student in each of the 3 grades 8 classes in his school, what is your favorite sport to play? Since Jared collected the data himself, very important, he is the one who collected the data by himself. The word himself here to show me that he collected by himself, the data are primary data. Secondary data are data not collected by yourself. But how did you get the data? However, you use the internet or the library or newspaper or from any chart or from any resources like book to help you to find the data. In this case, it's secondary data. So, for example, Alicia used the internet to find the salary of 10 professional basketball players. Since Alicia did not collect the data herself, the data are secondary data. So as you can see, we have how many? 4 pages. Census and sample. The second one, biased and valid. The third one, quantitative or qualitative data. And the last one, primary and secondary data. Now we are ready to answer all this question. So let's start with question number 1. For each survey, state if the sample is biased or reliable, and we have case number 1 and case number 2. So let's start with case number 1 to find out if the school cafeteria should change its menu. All the teachers were surveyed. Now I want to ask you, think about it first and tell me where is the keyword that it can help me to decide if this sample is biased or reliable. Again, to find out if the school cafeteria should change its menu, all the teachers were surveyed. Actually, the word all the teachers, this is the key word that can help me. Do you think this cafeteria is only for teachers or for students? For both. So teachers and students. So do you think it's fair that the cafeteria asks the teacher only and neglect the student? For sure no. That means right away this sample of the survey is biased. Right away. Why? It's biased because the cafeteria is also used by students and they should be included in the survey. Okay, number 2. Rock Music Magazine asks its reader to reply to a question about the favorite music group of teenagers. Again, I'm going to leave you for a few seconds. Tell me where is the keyword that can help me to decide if it's biased or reliable. The keyword here is its readers. This magazine is for what? For rock music magazine. The readers are fans of the rock music. Do you think it's fair to ask them about the favorite music group of teenagers? For sure no. They should ask all the teenagers from different places. So again, this one it's biased. Why? The sample is biased because the readers are most likely fans of the rock music and not all teenagers prefer rock music, so it's biased. This is how we can answer the question. We have to think about which word is the keyword, then I can decide if it's biased or reliable. And teacher cannot accept the answer biased or reliable only without your answer, complete answer. Why do you think? And this is, we call it the communication. So make sure that you understand that you have to give the reason why you choose biased and not reliable. Let's see another example. Question number 2. The owners of the city mall want to find out if shoppers would like a video arcade to be opened in the mall. How might the survey results be affected in each situation, and explain. So let's see the first situation. A survey of all shoppers is taken on a weekday morning. Again, I'm gonna leave you for a few seconds to search for the keyword. Right away, as you are saying, weekday morning. This is a key word. Why? On a weekday morning, most customers might be retired people or parents with small children. Because if you are young, maybe you are at work. If you are a student, maybe you are at school. So again, the most of the customer might be retired people or parent. The sample is not representative of the population. So the data collected here from this survey would most likely indicate what? That the video arcade should not be opened because they don't care. So again, this one, as you can see, it's not reliable because it doesn't take the whole, not reliable because it's not fair, it's taking a part only of, or sample only of the population, not a fair group of people, or the time that they chose, the weekday morning, it's not the good time to take a good sample of population. A survey of teenage shoppers is taken. So this survey of teenage shoppers is taken. I'm going to leave you for a few seconds to tell me where the keyword here and how you can decide if this survey is valid or reliable or not. Again, the keyword here is teenage shoppers. That means when only teenage are surveyed, the sample is biased. We didn't ask the customers or the shoppers. The shoppers are not teenage only. So in this case, we call it biased. So again, when only teenagers are surveyed, the sample is biased because the data collected from the survey would most likely indicate that the video arcade should be open because all teenagers, they care about the video, so that's why it's biased. Number 3, a survey of all shoppers is taken on Saturday afternoon. So I'm going to leave you for a few seconds. Think about this one. Now the keyword is all shoppers, and again I want to add Saturday. The time is important too. First of all, on a Saturday afternoon, the mall would have a mixed population in age and gender. So you will see all ages, and you will see female, male, you will see retired people, you will see young people. So Saturday for everyone, and it's saying all shoppers. That's why the data collected from the survey would probably be representative of the population. So this one we say that is reliable. And this is how we can answer the question. First, we have to choose the keyword, and after that we decide which one is reliable, which one is biased, which one is census, which one is sample, and so on. So as you can see, this is how we can answer the question, and as I said, you have to mention the reason, not only if it's biased or reliable, and that's it. You have to say why. So you have to show with the keyword that because it's saying Saturday afternoon, that means all age and gender. So you have to explain more and more. I hope that you understood this lesson, and the next one is going to be chapter or unit 5, lesson 2. Thank you.